Welcome to the very next episode of What If Civilization Started Over. We are on episode 20 and today we'll take a look at the further happenings of this world. Last time we saw a conflict with the religion of Cyan and Blue, but we also saw the formation of a new country called Slate that broke off from Mint. Let's take a look at countries that were mostly neutral since the beginning that they were formed. Yellow and Blue were sitting here in the peninsula of Spain, and nothing happened since they got here. After the Second Great War, they were formed and they were sort of threatened by Dark Red and maybe even Dark Brown for an invasion, but luckily these two rebel groups formed their own countries. And now they are happily living together. Actually, not happy together. The leader of Yellow is against what happens in the north. He really wants that they are on the same page. But after the Second Great War, these two countries just drifted away from each other. And they are not even trading with one another anymore. Blue actually is trading more with Brown than they ever did with Yellow. Yellow trades with Magenta and with Cyan and with Green a little bit as well. But for the most part they are self-efficient for what they can make themselves. But Yellow wants Blue to stop with trading with Brown, because they see in their eyes of Yellow, Brown is a bad country that has to be wiped from the Earth's surface. The news is spreading in Blue as well. And they know that the southern country is beginning to hate them. Blue is kind of furious and doesn't really want a conflict in the south. And they are scared of an invasion if they ever want to do more with their northern friend, Brown. But now Blue will do something that Yellow was fearing. Blue starts an invasion into Yellow and they are quickly to grab the first settlement of this invasion. And they are sweeping across the coast so that Yellow is not able to use their coastline anymore. They are so quickly that they get the second settlement of this invasion. Yellow is caught off guard, but they want to fight back as well. And they want to get these two settlements that are very close to their border there to grab. Yellow cannot wait and sit there, so they are invading. As well, and they get the first settlement of their invasion. And now it's called a full-on war, and they march towards the second, and that was fairly easy, cutting off this part of light blue that's now in the hands of Yellow. Blue is not happy with this, and they are trying to get a hold on some more troops from Brown. Brown hesitates at first, but then he thinks about his goals. There in the south. What's still alive? That he wants to be gone. Red. And if Blue succeeds to get this whole part of Yellow, they're getting closer and closer to their goal. So Brown sends some troops, not too many, to Blue so they can fight against Yellow. Yellow is quick and does fight pretty well and gets another settlement in their hands. Blue is furious, so they are going to march towards the capital, but not before they're getting hauled off by the Yellows. They get this front back to the settlement and they are close to recapturing it, but that failed. While this all is happening, the two members of the Southern Pact here in Eurasia are looking at this conflict. And in a secret meeting, Dark Blue and Dark Red are negotiating, and they just need one nod to one another. Dark Blue nods to Dark Red. They spoke about it too, but the nod was enough. Still, this war is going on, and Yellow gets this front cut off from the rest, and they are able to free their settlement in the south. Not in the north yet. There, the front is widening a little bit, and Blue is getting more into their country next to their border. It's going back and forth all the time, up to the point that Blue just let this part of their front slide so they can focus to get back to the south. All while this is happening, still a small army is widening their front here in blue, the yellow army. But out of nowhere, blue and yellow were surprised what was happening. Something that they both feared was happening. Dark red is invading both countries. Dark red gets a settlement of yellow and also one from blue. They're fighting. It's now a three-way war, and yellow is too scared to lose their land. So they evacuate all their troops here in blue so they can fight against dark red. But they know they are far too vulnerable and too weak to fight against the Southern Pact. Dark red, on the other hand, is quickly at marching through these two little countries. It's almost barely nothing to them. They get to this settlement, the second settlement here in the north, and then they noticed something. A ship that arrives at a harbor right here with troops. Not troops from blue, but troops from brown. This news spreads very quickly, and then Brown gets the news from the Southern Pact members. What are you doing? This makes the Southern Pact members angry, and for the most part dark blue and dark red, they were in the same alliance, but now they are feeling they are getting betrayed. But Brown replies with, well, you didn't help me in the war with Orange. And they replied back, that was your own problem. And Brown replied again with, well, then this is your problem. I will help blue. You are going to pay for not helping me in the war with Orange. And suddenly dark red is getting attacked from brown here in the north. At two places a front forms. This war is getting too complicated. In the meanwhile, blue is still fighting against yellow and gets more and more land out of it. They are even able to fight back the yellows to get this settlement back in their hands. Yellow also fights here in the north, but also fights the dark reds at the same time. They want to evacuate and rescue this settlement, but that doesn't work out at all. And they even lost all their troops, and dark red is marching more inlandwards, and they are losing even more land. Brown is furious and wants dark red to pay for what they did. Well, for actually what they didn't do, for not helping them in the war with Orange. And Brown is so successful that they got one settlement from the dark reds. Dark blue is furious now that they're in a war with Brown. They didn't want that to happen, but it sadly turned out that way. While this is happening, something happens right here in the capital of Brown. A king arrives. It's none other than Magenta. The Magenta king wants to negotiate with Brown to together invade dark red. They both want dark red gone. Remember, dark red got this part of Magenta. They were in a war right here as well. Magenta got this part back right here. Dark brown and Magenta agree. Something happened that no one saw coming at first a few years back. A new alliance has formed, the Diamond Alliance. Brown and Magenta are both getting involved with this war that just started off with these two, blue and yellow. Dark red didn't saw this coming, but suddenly, after all those years, they are getting attacked by the Magentas, and they are fluent, they are fast to sweep across their lands. And this goes so fast, so quickly, that they lost their capital, and they lost the whole part of Sicily. Dark red is without a capital. Quickly, but successfully, the king of dark red moves to this island right here, and they are operating this war from there on forwards. Magenta is quickly to free these two settlements, well, not free them, but capture them. And Brown is getting even closer to widening their front against the whole border with dark red, and they succeed. And they are marching to the next settlement, and they succeed. The Southern Pact is actually pretty weak. They were the strongest alliance in the world, but now that Brown left, together with Gold a few episodes back, they only have these two in the south. They don't really have an army that are, well enough to fight in the war up north, and they are not even participating. Dark Blue is sending all their troops that can help with this war. But the people inside Dark Blue are not really in favor of that anymore. They're losing people from their own country. Families, friends, people that you know, neighbors are dying in a war that the civilians of Dark Blue don't want to happen. And this king is now very scared for what's happening. But they really want not to lose this friend of theirs, Dark Red. So they continue to feed, so to speak, with soldiers. Now that Dark Red is getting invaded, they flee Blue, and Blue is able to get all their settlements back. And are so quickly that they even get some more land that originally was Yellow's. But Yellow is also quickly enough to get some as well. They left the war. Dark Red left the war with Blue and Yellow. But Blue and Yellow are still at war. Sadly, Yellow is losing far more soldiers than they wanted. And now with the whole border of Blue is a front, they are desperate to seek help. They want help. They don't want to lose their country to a, well, not so happy man, to not the Blue King. And out of nowhere, someone is there to help the Yellows with this war. It's none other than the Reds. They free a settlement from the Yellows, and they take over the part, and they are going far more up north, and they are fighting back. Red is involved in another war since the Second Great War. Dark Red doesn't know this at all. They forbid Red to do anything outside their own borders, but now they're doing it. Yellow is relieved that someone finally helped, someone that they didn't actually expect to help at all, but an old friend. Yes, they rebelled against their original leader in the Second Great War, but Yellow and Red are both vulnerable, and they know from each other that they can help each other in this world. Red doesn't really have that much soldiers to fight, but they are able to free a whole section of the Blue front. But then the news spreads to Brown, and Brown now knows that Red is involved in the war. Red is involved. Finally, Magenta knows this as well, and slowly but surely, Cyan, Green, Pink, Neon Lime, Orange, everyone knows that they are fighting now. Now that everyone knows, someone speaks up from inside the Gold team, and that news slowly spreads as well. Now the world knows that Red sailed away, that Gold found them here in Canada. But no one is really angry at Red for doing that. Only, well, 3 countries are really mad. Lime, Blue, and Brown. The 2 Southern Pact leaders are like, that's the least of our worries. We have Brown, we have Magenta, but this is getting far more out of hand than they expected it to be. Because this war is also getting watched by Cyan. Remember the conflict, religious-wise? Well, Cyan is not happy what happened with the religion, and they find it that this is the right time to strike. Suddenly at one night, Blue lost Cyprus because of an invasion from Cyan. More and more troops are landing on the coasts of Dark Blue. This war is getting out of hand completely. Everyone sees an opportunity to take a part in it, and they do. Dark Blue is now like, I cannot send any more soldiers to Dark Red. And Dark Red is like, help me please, I need people. My capital is lost. Cyan prepared greatly for this invasion and captured a few settlements here. They're also getting more and more land very close to the capital. After all those years, the capital from Dark Blue is in the danger zone. People from inside the Dark Blue teams itself are furious. They are so furious that the king didn't listen, that they are tired of being ruled by their king. Rebel groups are starting to pop up in the Dark Blue country. And Dark Blue is like, I cannot handle this any more longer. They desperately want some soldiers from Dark Orange and Dark Green, but they're like, hell no! I know we are in an alliance, but I rather step down from it and help you guys in this third great war. Cyan is quickly at getting another settlement from Dark Blue, and their front is getting wider and wider, and they even get a settlement here in the east. Their capital is close to failing and falling in the hands of Cyan. But now, after waiting and waiting for soldiers, Blue can finally fight back and free their capital a little bit. This front is completely lost, and they're trying to fight back the rebel groups, but that's failing completely. They are actually getting bigger, and these settlements here, close to the capital, are not happy with the king of Dark Blue itself. More people are starting to rise up, and it feels like that this war can end very badly for many countries. Back at Yellow and Blue, the Reds are cleaning up the Yellows a little bit more, but Blue just fights back again, and it's just a back and forth war. But then suddenly no more soldiers are there to fight against Blue. Red just suddenly disappears. No more soldiers are there, and they're all getting killed in the war. Yellow is desperate to seek help, to find out where the soldiers went. And that's when they figure something out. Desperately, Dark Red is attacking the Reds in this war. They now know that Red attacked, that Red helped in this war. So Red wants to, well, free their own country before they want to free another one. But because of that, Blue can attack Yellow much greater. No more troops that they have to fight. Yellow really doesn't have much left to fight with. A little bit here in the north to free this settlement, but that wasn't enough because Blue, together with Brown, captured the capital city of Yellow, and Yellow surrenders. Suddenly, Red can fight back all the troops of Dark Red out of their borders. They don't go inside Dark Red territory yet. They want to secure their own border that's still left. They are small, but they are still there. This happened because of Brown getting the settlement where the Dark Red's king was living. And the king got killed by the troops of Brown. And no one was there left to rule Dark Red. The major powers of this world are getting attacked. Dark Red was the 7th most strongest country in the world. Dark Blue the very first strongest country in the world, but busy with their own problems. Dark Red is no longer there. And because of this, Blue is expanding their borders outside of their land, next to Dark Red. Inside Dark Red, they are trying to get some land out of this. Brown is like, I got what I wanted. Blue, well, you take the rest. Some civilians are fighting back against the Blue, but there's actually there are people that are like, well, maybe we're in better hands now after all those years. And there it happened. Dark Red got eliminated from Spain's peninsula. Now Magenta takes its opportunity to get even more land out of it, to just eliminate as much as possible from the Dark Reds. While that's happening, of course, this rebel group in Dark Red is getting bigger and bigger, up to the point that many civilians itself are starting to rise up. Dark blue cannot handle all these people. Eventually, most of all people in this settlement are rising up. The army cannot hold them off. They want to hold off Cyan, but it's too much. After being the strongest country in the world for years, even they can fail in succeeding in a war, and the king can barely hang on anymore until he gets killed by troops from Cyan. Two great powers lost their king. Their king is no longer alive. Purple is here, watching it in disbelief. The strongest country in the world, a friend of theirs, is gone. The last two Southern Pact members that are left with a king, they look to each other, they have a meeting with each other, and they decide to step down from the Southern Pact. Only two are left, but none that can lead it. So because of that, the Southern Pact is gone. And slowly but surely, Dark Red is just there to grab. Dark Red is no more. Brown got its parts, Blue even got some parts, Red got back at their old potential. Magenta also grew a little bit, and they are happy that one bad power in this world is erased from its surface. But then still we had one problem. Cyan got the capital in hands from Blue, but they quickly opt out from this war. They leave so that the rebels can take it all. Cyprus and the northern fronts are not leaving though. Cyan really wants these parts. And now it's just left. What will happen? What will happen with the rebels and the rest of the population that behaved, well, properly or peacefully to the king? Well, let's look at the very first peace treaty in the Third Great War. And this is how it will turn out. We have a whole new country popping up that after they spoke with the rebels and the rest of the, well, original Dark Blue team, they wanted to break off completely, and we have the formation of a very new country, Rosewood. They have all these provinces right here, but this western side will be for Night Blue, and north up against Cyan will be also occupied and be ruled by Night Blue, and Dark Blue will be left like this. These provinces are claimed and Cyan really wants. Night Blue agrees as long as they will release Cyprus. So they do. And also, this is a small section that will be left alone. But let's see where Dark Blue will set their capital now. Of course, the capital of Night Blue will stay right there. But Dark Blue will set it right there, close to Purple and a very wealthy and grown city. Rosewood will set his capital right there, at a very wealthy city as well. So Africa is a little bit more divided up right now, but let's take a look at what this peace treaty will do between red, brown, blue and magenta. Let's see how Dark Red will be divided up. Firstly, we have what red will gain. Their old land back, finally, after all those years. Brown will gain these islands here, plus this slither in Africa. They are more southern than they actually wanted to be, but it's fine by them. Same for Magenta, who will get all this, and the capital place of Dark Red. But what will happen here with Blue, Yellow and the rest of Dark Red? Let's look at the last peace treaty of this war. Blue will gain all this and even this part here in Africa next to Red, and Brown will extend a little bit more downwards and to make this whole stroke of land theirs. And of course this capital city is no more. All these cities belong to Blue, and Magenta also having this major city that belong to Dark Red. But now we only have one alliance left, and that's how it will stay. The Diamond Alliance, that will be an alliance with these two guys. Orange is kind of doubting Magenta, like why were they working together with Brown? I get the circumstances, but still, why? But the world has a very new look. The Third Great War suddenly that rose up. We have a major power in the world that is no more, divided into 3 countries, but still existing, but Dark Red completely wiped off the maps. And we have Yellow gone, Red gained more land, and a new alliance, the Diamond Alliance. But oh boy, Red is back to get their full glory.